Hey Internet, it's RJ and welcome back. Thanks for tuning into this show today. Now today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. So on the docket for today, we are fully loaded. We have Discover in their Q2 5X categories. We have Hyatt with their yearly award chart changes. Of course, we're back with more CFPB updates. We'll try not to offend everyone, but no promises, of course. And Smartly Rewards, U.S. Bank's card that's after my heart. They're sending out notices that could be ominous. Of course, we'll talk about that as well. So, of course, that sounds interesting to you. Go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now we lead off with Discover and their Q2 5X categories for this quarter, for this coming quarter. We have, very simply put, two categories this time, which one and the same, maybe grocery stores and wholesale clubs. Again, that's going to run April through June 2025. Yes, you do need to activate it. I just activated mine. You should do the same right now. And of course, the only thing that really annoys me about these is when they do wholesale clubs, if they go through it and read it, they say, make sure to check that your local wholesale club accepts our card. Simply say Costco doesn't accept anything that's not a Visa. Chase does the same thing on their Freedom Flex and the MasterCard. I don't know why we're in this point in the world where no one will just say a thing even though we know it's true. So just keep that in mind. Costco will not take your Discover card. Online, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a Costco person. But either way, there you go. Also, as a note, remember for Chase and the Freedom, starting in March, they have their bonus categories as well. I actually just took advantage of these. So it's tax preparation services and insurance. So I got lucky, if you could say, that my car insurance actually renews at the end of March. And then, of course, tax filing services as well. It's important to know that's not paying your taxes. It's just like TurboTax, H&R Block, things like that. I don't know how your local CPA is going to code, but there you go. And again, that is in addition to your existing spend. It's not a new $1,500 tranche, so just keep that in mind. But again, I've got like 5 freedoms, so it's not that bad. So keep that in mind. There you go. Don't need to belabor the point. I like the Discover. I like groceries. It's easy to hit organically. Of course, they sell gift cards. I'm still in my first year of cashback match, so I will bench my AAA Daily Advantage card and use Discover, and I'll probably be able to take care of it just fine. So moving right along, we have everyone's favorite hotel chain is Hyatt, at least in the awards space. Well, around this time of year, I guess it's not anyone's favorite because they come out with their annual award chart changes. So here we have it. There's a full press release over on ProfitContent.com, and Hyatt does do a good job of linking out to a chart where you can go and see what's happening. But when you take a look at it, the things they want you to know, when you book before March 25th, your reservation will follow the current free night award chart, which I have linked for you. Reservations made or modified after March 25th will follow the new free night award chart and incorporate the updates noted below. Existing reservations for nights on or after March 25th will receive a refund from the point difference in the hotel move to a new lower category. Overall, the summary here, 118 properties are getting a category or price increase, and 33 are getting a category or price reduction. Now, I won't spend a ton of time on this. Sebi did a fantastic breakdown over on his channel and his kind of recap that he did of going to Hyatt and the category changes. The thing I think most people want to look at is what moved from a category 4, because I think 1 through 4 is what triggers the award night for the regular Hyatt Chase card. See what moved up and what moved down. It's probably not going to make you super happy, but I think that's probably the part that's going to concern folks the most of where the movements are at. But again, overall, as we would expect, more moved up than down. So what are you going to do? So let me know down below what your thought is on Hyatt and if where you stay or like to go was affected. Now, we move on. We talked about this a week or two ago. It upset some folks, but we're still going to cover it because the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau still bleeds over into our space. It is heavily based in our space, even if not everyone cares for the two people, Lord Elon and President Trump, who were behind, it being shut down, but possibly restructured, and who the heck knows what. Well, hopefully we'll know a little bit more after these stories, but it's unlikely. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about is a while back it came out that the CFPB was ordered to just stand down. Don't come into work, stop investigations, that whole thing. Don't even take your next drawdown of funding from the Federal Reserve because you're super overcapitalized or something like that. They said it more political than that. Anyhow, we have now conflicting reports from the Justice Department. Says the CFPB will be streamlined, not dismantled. So lawyers for the Justice Department have stated that the Trump administration plans to streamline the CFPB rather than dismantle it, according to court filings. These were filed on February 21st. However, this is contradictory to statements that President Trump has previously made to reports earlier this month. He was asked, like, do you intend to totally eliminate the CFPB? That was a very important thing to, he said that was a very important thing to get rid of it. So there you go. According to court filings, the streamlined CFPB will continue to operate its call center database for consumer complaints, produce mortgage data, and require payments to consumers harmed by corporate misconduct. So they've got court filings that say one thing, and then the big guy says another thing. So I don't. Who's really to say, right? I don't mean to laugh because I know this offends some of you, but you kind of got to find the humor in a little bit. I know people are going to get mad at that, but hey, it's all over the place. So who really knows? I have talked to at least 2 people who did say they actually were able to file CFPB complaints and they were forwarded on to the Federal Reserve. I've talked to, they were in the comments from last Thursday's video Q&A when we were asked about the CFPB as well. So there's that. So, I mean, streamline is a buzzword that everyone uses. I don't know what more streamline means. It's like, well, what streamline how? That's the thing. And that's when I talk about, it's unlikely, but there's still an opportunity, though somewhat unlikely, that there are room for improvements in things like that. That's what I hope they end up doing, not just with this, but across the board. But, until I see a plan like, hey, we're going to streamline it how X, Y, and Z to get end result this, to what end, I don't know. I'm just going to take it as we get the headlines, right? Now, CFPB again in the news, because if you remember, one thing I was high on them doing is suing Capital One for having that savings account that was like super similar to, they basically had one Capital One savings account that they froze the interest rates on, then another one, they added a word to the product, and then that one, they enabled the higher interest rates, and they're being sued for that. And as you can see here, they are no longer being sued. The case has now been dismissed as a part of the dismemberment of the CFPB, or the diminishment of it, really. That was from Reuters as well. So it was not just a Capital One lawsuit. It was also one from my old alma mater, Rocket Mortgage. And it's funny because I just try to highlight that there are 2 sides to this, even if you don't love the other side. I think I can tell this story. Now, I remember being at like an all-company thing in my Quicken. It was still Quicken Loans at the time. And we were an all-company. They rent out like Little Caesars Arena. It used to be like the Joe Louis. And one of the executives who remained nameless, this was the time where like they were investigating Quicken Loans for like some FHA thing or something, public knowledge. He said, like, on stage in front of the entire company to, like, F the government or something. And I ran into one of my lawyer friends afterwards, and she was like, nah, I got to work late because I got to review all the footage to make sure we didn't, open up to any more liability or things like that. All that to say, yes, there are still people who root against the CFPB. And, I think they have a point. It doesn't mean they're right for consumers, but they're not arguing from a consumer standpoint. They're arguing from a banker standpoint, so I get it. So that's kind of what it reminded me of. So I'm sure my old friends over there are pretty happy about their lawsuit being tossed. So there you go. Hopefully it's a little less inflammatory for you. I did my best, but let me know your thoughts down below, or just yell at me down below. That's fine too. I allow all the comments to come through. So now here's some things that will actually upset me, which really, I guess, shows you where my priorities are in this game. 2, one from American Express and one from US Bank. So if you follow the second channel, Run on the Bank, it's about bank promotions and things like that. You may be familiar with a tool called PayPal Bill Pay, which is long story short, allows you to pay credit card bills through PayPal Bill Pay using a debit card. That's handy to us because some checking bonuses require debit card spend to hit the offer, some fairly lofty. Well, unfortunately, that list of what issuers allow PayPal Bill Pay to be paid for their credit cards has been slowly diminishing. But they used to just disappear in secret. But now, thank you to a channel member, I have this, that American Express will no longer be able to pay your American Express bill through PayPal. I missed a word. Jesus, you will no longer be able to pay your American Express bill through PayPal. You think I would just edit that out, but we're leaving it in. So we're reaching out to let you know that starting April 1st, 2025, you will no longer be able to use PayPal to pay your American Express bill. You're receiving this update because you used this payment method in the past, and we want you to know. So weirdly enough, that's actually nice of American Express because Chase just disappeared from the list. I think only like Citi and maybe Bank of America are there anymore, but more and more issuers have probably been phoning up PayPal saying, I don't want to do this. So there's like three. My thought is that, if I'm American Express or a card issuer, I don't want you to be able to conceal where the money is actually coming from, because it says it's coming from PayPal, but I know that it's actually coming from somewhere else. And I don't know that they can see down through PayPal to see what card information is layered underneath that. So I assume they identified it as a risk and just say, hey, I don't want to be bothered with your mysterious funds. Just shut it off altogether. A quick phone call to PayPal will probably get them removed. So I never got a notice from any of the other issuers because I've done this a fair amount there as well. The other spot could be, I think it's gonna be that. I don't think it's much to do with the swipe fees. I mean, it could be, but I would think PayPal has to eat those. But it's possible they get passed on, some fees maybe get passed on to the issuer. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm going to guess it's they just don't like the secrecy and you hiding the true source of the money. So we are slowly but surely losing one more tool in our bonus hunting tool belt, bat belt, if you will, utility belt is probably it. So that is unfortunate. That does make me sad. So last one. U.S. Bank Smartly, a program near and dear to my heart. It's become my favorite card. I think it actually has become my favorite card. You know the deal. It's U.S. Bank's version of Preferred Rewards, where your base 2% card can get as high as 4% back if you've got $100,000 with U.S. Bank. We've got a fair amount of videos on it on the main channel. So I did not get this email that I saw. I mean, it's possible I just deleted it, but I found this on Reddit, and it says, anyone using U.S. Bank Smartly get the email about it being a consumer card. So we hope you are enjoying your new U.S. Bank Smartly Visa Signature Consumer Credit Card. We would like to remind you that as described in your card member agreement, transactions with this card are intended to be only for personal, family, or household purposes. It is important to know that federal and state consumer protection laws may not apply if you use the card for business charges. In addition, using this card for business purposes may result in your account being suspended or permanently closed. So there you go. That didn't take too long at all for them to send out notices like that. I assume they're sending out large amount of notices. I myself am up to like almost $600 in cash back on that card, I think already at 4%. Why? Because I paid a round of winter property taxes with it, and federal taxes are coming up, and I had some large amount of plumbing issues as well. Not so much issues, some upgrades, some fixes, some upgrades here. I won't bore you with the details, but anyhow, so I can imagine this is one of a more so a preemptive thing. They tried to go the friendly route of like, hey, just so you know, there's rules, if you will, around personal versus consumer goods, because you can definitely see a world where someone just uses this card and everything, which you're totally allowed to use a personal card for business expenses. It's more so about matching the receipts and making sure you're reimbursing yourself from the right bank account, things of that nature. So I think they're definitely aware of it now, which they knew they were getting into and keeping an eye on it. They've probably seen an influx on it given spend. And the larger question is, I don't think they'd care enough to determine what is business spend versus not. For example, if I pay property taxes here where I live, that's not a business expense. But if I pay them on the other two houses, it's technically sort of a business expense, because you can then, put, taxes and insurance and stuff on your taxes underneath that asset or that LLC, whatever you have it under, on your taxes. So I don't think they're going to stop and like, let me see which is actually which. I think in the past we've seen on occasion, if someone's doing super high amounts of spend, they just say, hey, this may be business spend, and kick you out. I don't think we're there by any means yet, but it's just definitely something to keep your eye on as a Smartly user. I wouldn't let this deter you from paying taxes. It's not going to stop me from paying my taxes, my federal taxes, when they come due on the Smartly card, for example. I'm still going to do that. I do think this is just like an early warning sign, potentially, of the thing that we were all most concerned about. It's like, wow, what happens when people go crazy with this card? And not even that they're not even in their right to do so, right? But I just keep an eye on it and see. Again, I predicted Smartly would at least have a 2 to 3 year run before something happened. So these came out a little bit sooner than I thought they would, but I think it's partly just that we find ourselves in an expensive time of year, perhaps, and U.S. Bank is seeing that. So anyways, there you go. If we see anything else, we'll of course definitely let you know, but that has been the news for the week. So of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you're not particularly interested, consider subscribing to the channel, so we're posting content just like this every single week. Of course, right back every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance, and of course every single day over on profitfulcontent.com, which is the channel's blog, always linked down below for you, and on the channel homepage, where we have, of course, the latest news stories just like this. We have plenty more bank promotions, and we have credit card offers. Just don't try to pay them with PayPal. But if you want to take some of the pressure off your Smartly card, go ahead, check out what we have over there. But anyways, guys, that'll do it for this one. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon this week.